In this session, I'm going to show how to use TeachingBooks, Soundzabound, and Learn360. So I'll start by going to Keystone's webpage, click on Online Resources, and I'll scroll down alphabetically to TeachingBooks. This is actually a resource for K-12, but it's really designed for teachers because it's a website about books and about authors. It doesn't have ebooks, but it's resources about authors and books. So anybody who's looking for any kind of literature, this would be a good place to go. Now, right away, we would sign in. So we could generically sign in with our KAEA 202, and our password is KAEA01, and that would be a generic login. Notice I've already logged in, and so it recognizes me, but I have created my own account. Are you an educator? And if you click login, or at the first time, I think it'll ask you to create an account. And if you do that, notice it pops up with my work email. What it will do, and it tells you right here what you can do, but you can create custom reading lists. And what I like about that is, let's say I'm doing a lesson on immigration, then I can find the books and the resources that deal with immigration and put them on that reading list. And then I can do these other things too. But it has to be your work-related email. And so now here's my customized page. And it's got different things on here. And if I scroll down, there are some really good ways to navigate this website. If you're browsing, you could say, I really am interested in pre-K through 2, and I'm looking for, let's say, math or biographies. Then I could select that way. But what I'm going to do is go up to the top, and I wanted to show you the bar across the top. And as I put my mouse there, you can see you can search by certain things, by author or title. You can browse by grade level or subject. Then there are Meet the Author movies, which are kind of good if you're doing a novel study. Then you can watch an interview with the author. If you don't know how to pronounce their name, if you're looking for lesson plans or trailers, it's a good place to go. Under Popular, we have the Iowa book list. So those are the Iowa Teen Award, Iowa Children's Choice Award, and so forth. We also have Reader's Theater scripts, and there are over 300 and some scripts. A lot of teachers use this resource for that alone. And then there are some other things here too on help. There's some basic videos and that kind of thing. So for example, under Popular, we'll go there first. Under Reader's Theater scripts. It always gives some examples of Reader's Theater. So here's some middle school kinds of things. I could scroll down though, and it says there are 456, but I need to click on Show All because it only shows the first few. And then notice that these category titles or column titles are underlined, so that means I can sort by those. So I can't sort by grade level, and you notice because it's too wide of a span, but I can sort by author or title. So if I'm doing a certain author, I could do that. So for example, The Roadrunner's Dance, it's pre-K through 5, and I click on it and it'll take me to an outside source usually, but wherever that script is. Hopefully this won't take too long to load. Sometimes they're PDFs, sometimes they're websites. Oh, that didn't work, did it? It wasn't a very good example. Well, I will have to check with that one. I clicked on Roadrunners. I will actually email the company, and they're very responsive. They're actually a small company out of Madison. So let's choose another one. Let's go down and choose Crenshaw. Hopefully that one will open up for us. And so here's the script. That one's a short one. Sometimes there are longer ones. Okay, so that was under Reader's Theater scripts, and that's under Popular, and I just went there to get it. If I go here, audio name pronunciations is kind of fun sometimes. I never knew how to pronounce John's name. And notice I can scroll down and do a search too. But I'll give you an example.
My name is John Sheska, and it's often pronounced many different ways that aren't even close to that. The people who know how to pronounce it best actually are Polish, because it is a Polish word. In Polish, it actually means path, like a path through the woods. And I have heard people mispronounce it in many wonderful ways, like Skieska, Shizyshka, Skazuka. Or I love when people just freeze up and don't know what to say at all. But it is Sheska, and it pretty much rhymes with fresca.
So now I always know how to pronounce his name. He's written a lot of popular children's books. So now I'm on John Sheska's link, so I could go here and I could go to his personal website. I could go to these other resources that are similar and so forth. I could go up to the top, and let's say I want to search by author. I could search for Jack Perletsky, and a lot of times it'll jump up for me, so I click on Jack's name. And here are the things about him. Now, right here, there are lesson plans, 32, 11 book readings, and so forth. And you can see what they're here, author interviews, and so forth. And as I go down, they're right here too. So here are the meet the author, about the author. Here are author interviews, and here are books by him. And here's his name. So these aren't the actual books, but they're information about those books. Whatever they have about that book, they'll have right there. Now, if I go up here, here's a reading. So let's say what a day it was at school. And in this example, Perletsky's reading it himself. And I won't play the whole thing, but you'll get the idea. It looks just like the author.
Perletsky. I'm going to recite a poem for you from my book, What a Day It Was at School. This poem is called In the Cafeteria. I was feeling sort of silly, so I took a bit of bread and directed it.
And I'll stop right there. You get the idea. But like for Poetry Week, this would be a fun little piece to play too. I could, for example, go under a title search. Dave the Potter is an example of a book that I like, and I type that in, and it looks like there are two that relate to Dave the Potter. I'll take the very first one. This happens to be a book that we have in our media collection too. And when I did that, notice I have a lot of different choices. And I think there's a Meet the Author movie, and that might be with the illustrator. Here's a reading from his book, how to pronounce his name, and so forth. So a lot of information about books. If I want to do that browse that I talked about, I could go by, for example, by genre. So we could go by grade level. So if I were teaching a certain grade, I could choose a grade here. I could choose a topic or a type of resource. So if I want to see just the trailers, I could go there. And then here are the special lists that they've got. And it keeps going. Jack Gantos talks about how he does journaling. And then here's an interview with Sharon Draper. But let's say we're interested in 4th grade, so I click on 4th grade. And so here are my results for 4th grade. The Giver, for example. These are all hot links, so I can get more information about those books. I could also go down here and narrow my results. So I could say, well, I've got 4th grade, but I'm really looking for science books, or I'm really looking for nonfiction, or any of these other areas. So if I would choose science, now it looks like well, they still have 5,000 that they've related somehow to science. So in a nutshell, that's what TeachingBooks is all about. There's also, I didn't mention it, but there's an advanced search here too, and a lot of other different things that you can do. And here's where you can narrow it down by lexile and so forth too. And again, you can create your custom list. And since I'm signed in, if I go to my custom reading list, this won't appear if you're logged in with the generic, I believe. And so I've made a few lists: animal stories, dystopian, and then it'll put all the titles that I've only got one under each, but it would put all my books that I've had under those 2 lists there. And so I can always go back and I don't have to find them later. Or I can create a new list. And notice I can email, I can send a permalink out. So if I want to send a link just to a teacher about a certain guide, I could do that. And they have a lot of webinars too to help people with this. So that's TeachingBooks. Very quickly, and I don't know if you know about Soundzabound, but this is royalty-free music and sound effects. And so students can use this anyway, and they don't have to worry about fair use or copyright date. And this just uses our regular generic login. and KAEA01 for a password. Looks like we're a little slow today. And while I'm waiting, here's information on how to use Soundzabound on the iPad. And then there are some other pieces down here that are kind of good too. Digital citizenship articles. I found a lot of good stuff under there. Okay, it's taking a little too long. Usually it doesn't take this long. I know the office assistants were complaining this morning that it was really slow too. So I think it's an our end, not by the company's end. But what this does, you can browse by category. Volume, you probably don't know what we have a number of volumes, and that's how we build this Soundzabound collection, is by buying volumes. But browse by category is what I like to do, but it looks like it's really slow. Here we go. Okay, so let's say I've done a social studies report and we're studying in the 30s. I could look for music or sound effects that are from the 30s, or decades of music, or Irish, jazz, all kinds of stuff here. Scary music, for example. Spanish, suspense. You get the idea. St. Pat's Day. So, for example, let's say I want music from the 50s. Hopefully this doesn't take as long. I could type it in if I knew too. So here's that music that I selected, and it looks like it's a few clips. They're short clips, so they're designed to be put into like movies and that kind of thing as background, and you can always put one clip after another so you don't have to use just one. Here's the play, which is the preview, and then if you're wanting to keep it to put somewhere else, it downloads as an MP3. So let's preview. This one's only 15 seconds. This one's 3 minutes. We'll do a little bit of that one. Hopefully it won't take too long. Looks like it's going to be slow though. Wow. Doesn't even look like our server's responding right now. Well, I might stop there. Oh, there we go. So that's what I chose from the 50s. And I think it's this one. I was clicking around way too much. I shouldn't have done that. So that's this one right here that we're listening to now. So let's say you can see this is a sock hop. So let's say I'm going to stop that. Let's say we want that, then you know how to do this. We click on download MP3. I don't know how long that will take. I mean, normally it's really quick, but it looks like we're having some internet issues. So I won't wait for that to happen. But that's how it works, and then it's on your desktop, and you can move it into any program. Here we go. And you can open it up with iTunes or whatever, MP3. So I'll hit cancel on that. And so basically that's how you use Soundzabound. We do have different volumes. I don't know how long this will take to click on. And some of the volumes, I don't know that they use it that way, but you could get sports volumes and that kind of thing. But by category, you can also get it that way too. I don't know that I'll wait for that. Here we go. Some of this isn't very helpful to you because you don't know what's in those volumes. But this one happens to be all background. This is all production, and this is all the sports. So I'm going to close out of that one. And then I'll go to Learn360. And that one's right here. This is a video collection, K-12 video clips. And again, now this one, we can log in generically. Or if you talk with Kathy Wessel, you can actually, there's a way you can log in individually, and then you can save to book lists, to like video lists and things like that, so that you don't have to look for them each time. And so they've got featured titles, popular, recently added, and then we could browse by subjects and so forth. So if I take the very first, I'll take one of these in the first row. And notice I can search too. So I could search for like planets or plants or President Lincoln and so forth. But I chose one program. And so here's the whole video, 5 tips for healthy eating on the go. I could hit the play button, or I could say, really what I want is number 5, fast food options for breakfast. So I click on number 5, and then I hit play. and you know how to do that. And notice you can do large screen and so forth. I can also have closed captioning on if it is available. Oh, again, working really slowly. But as we're waiting, notice here's where I can download it. I can get a link to embed it into a PowerPoint or a web page. And when you do that, it'll ask the person to log in. And I could share it, a citation, all that kind of thing. And you might also like. I can click on details up at the top right, and I've got a little bit more as far as copyright and so forth and what subjects they've given it. And then if there's a transcript, it's right here. So if you need a transcript of the whole program, you can get that. For some reason, it's not playing. Again, I think it's our internet. It's not these products. But that's basically how you use that. I can go back and go to home. I think, okay, here we go. And then, like I said, I could search for here, so I could type in Lincoln, and I'll probably get Abraham Lincoln or Lincoln, Nebraska by being a little too vague. But then we can search for a specific topic that way. And you can see here are my results. It tells me what grade, how many segments are in the video. So I could look at that and say, oh yeah, I really want his women troubles. Oh, that sounds good. So I can click there, and then again, it's still connecting, but then I can play that video. And then I need to click it again. I don't think it logged into my women's troubles. Now I'm there, and now I can watch that. So you see there are all kinds of things on here. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that, but those are videos that we buy. There's also a lot of children's literature on Learn360 also that's been made into video. And so with that, I will stop. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about those 3 titles.